everyone, Kristen Jaden here, Special Programs Coordinator at New York State Public High School Athletics Association. Welcome to December's episode of Captains Club, presented by the New York State Correctional Officers and Police Benevolent Association. This association represents over 30,000 New York State employees and retirees from the Security Services Unit and is proud to support NYSPHSAA Captains Club. Now, every Captains Club is about exploring the different roles, responsibilities, and expectations of what it takes to be a team leader. It doesn't matter if you're a captain, a bench player, or anything in between. During Captains Club, we focus on you. So I'm really excited about our guest today. His name is Rob Duell. He played baseball at Niskayuna High School in Section 2 from 1997 to 2001, where he was a 3-time Suburban Council All-Star. He was also the team captain his junior and senior year. Rob continued his academic and athletic career as a Division I baseball player at Sacred Heart University and was star pitcher for the World Series champions Albany Athletics summer baseball team. He was also named a captain at Sacred Heart in 2005. Rob has coached over 20 college baseball players in the last 10 years. 9 of them were Division I players and 2 went on to play professionally. Rob was the assistant baseball coach for the Hills-Ballston High School, also in Section 2, from 2007 to 2012. And in 2011, they won the NYSPHSAA Class A Baseball State Championship. He is now the head baseball coach at Hills-Ballston and has been since 2013. Today, Rob is going to discuss the importance of a team and the type of qualities leaders should have. Rob, thanks so much for being with us today.
Thank you, Kristen. First of all, before we get started, I want to say thank you again to Kristen and Joe Altieri for giving me the opportunity to speak with you all today. Secondly, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. I'm hoping that during these next 10 minutes or so, I can provide something that you can take with you and help enhance not only your personal performance, but the performance of the teams that you're on. I'm going to share some of my own personal experiences and the things I've seen in and around the baseball field that have made an impact on me and how I coach my teams currently. So before we can talk about leadership, winning and losing, or any of those other important topics, I think it's important that we talk about what it means to be a member of a team. I think the idea of team gets lost sometimes, and it's important that people recognize what a special opportunity it is to be a teammate. I urge all of you to take a moment, it doesn't have to be right now, and truly think about why you play sports. What are the things that you take the most pride in during the course of the season? What are the things that you remember? What are the things that you love? On the opposite side, what are the things that you dread? What are the things that you would get rid of from your daily practices if you could? For me personally, I always loved competition. I loved competing with a group of my friends against another team. I absolutely hated running, and I'm talking about the conditioning at the end of practice, and I hated every single step. And I'm sure that's the same for some of the people out there listening right now. But if you think about it, why do we put up with those things that we dislike? And the only thing I can come back to is the joy of accomplishing a goal with a team is so great that we make these sacrifices in order to experience that feeling. It's the reason I started coaching after my playing career is over. It's really difficult to replace that feeling. Working with a group of your peers every day with a common goal in mind is one of the greatest things that you can do in your life. And it's hard to realize what that means while you're in the middle of it. Sometimes you just see the monotony of going to practice. You get sick of the daily grind, but we do it anyway because the feeling of accomplishing a goal with your peers is actually indescribable. So this is true from youth sports to high school all the way to the professional level. So I'm a Cowboys fan, Dallas Cowboys fan. So the quote I'm about to read to you is taken from a press conference this year that was given by Dallas Cowboys quarterback Tony Romo. He was speaking at this press conference because he had lost his starting job to a rookie quarterback, Dak Prescott, and he wanted to make sure he didn't become a distraction to the team. So I'm going to read a short excerpt from that press conference. Romo says, "I can remember when I was a kid, just starting out, wanting to be a part of something bigger than myself. For every high school kid out there or college player, there is greatness in being the kind of teammate who truly wants to be a part of a team. Everyone wants to be the reason they are winning or losing. Every single one of us wants to be that person. But there are special moments that come from a shared commitment to play a role while doing it together. That's what you will remember. Not your stats or your prestige, but the relationships and the achievement that you created through a group. It's hard to do, but there's great joy in that. And all the while your desire burns to be the best you've ever been, you can be both. I have figured that out in this process. It's what separates sports from everything else. It's why we love it. It's why we trust it. It's why I still want to play and compete. Now, to me, that's a really powerful quote, and it speaks to the importance of being a member of a team. Even at the highest level of sports, being a great teammate is a vital part of success. So the questions are, what makes a team successful? What takes good teams to the elite level? What separates the contenders from the pretenders? In my opinion, being a teammate is a part of it, and having great team leaders is one of the first keys to success. I know a lot of the people listening right now are captains of your teams, and I'm telling you that you don't need to be named, quote unquote, a captain to be a team leader. Also, just because you're named a captain, it doesn't magically transform you into a leader. You need to work at it. I've been fortunate to be a part of hundreds of different teams in my life, and it wasn't until I was in high school and college that I really started paying attention to the leadership and the dynamics of the teams I played on. I use those experiences now to help shape the way I lead my players and ultimately help teach my captains how to be good leaders. So what makes a good leader? What qualities do they possess? I've come up with 3 things that I'm going to share with you hopefully in the next few minutes that I've noticed are important. And the first thing, the first quality that a good leader has is a great leader always includes and never excludes. So I'm going to tell you a quick story about my time at Sacred Heart that demonstrated this. It was my first week on campus. I was still trying to get my bearings straight. I still got lost looking for my classes. Generally, I really didn't know what to expect. We had one baseball meeting where everyone on the team was in the same room, but I didn't know any of these guys at this point. The 2 senior captains were introduced, but I didn't get a chance to talk with them. After all, I was just a freshman. I was trying to fit in. There were other more established team members there that all knew each other. And it was actually kind of a weird feeling for me because I'd grown up playing with my friends, and now I'm on a team, but I don't really know anybody. I didn't feel like I was a part of anything yet. So it was a really strange, uncomfortable feeling for me. A few days later, I was in the gym with my good friend Curtis, who was one of the other freshmen on the team. We had gone to high school in the same area in New York, and we knew each other through summer baseball. So we were just shooting hoop, and in walked the 2 senior captains of the baseball team. At this point, I still hadn't met these guys, but I did know that one of them was the front runner to be Player of the Year in our conference. He ended up getting drafted in the 10th round by the St. Louis Cardinals after that season. So they came over to us, introduced themselves, and asked us if we wanted to play a game of 2-on-2. I was feeling pretty confident. So was Curtis. We had both played high school basketball, and we weren't that far removed from it. So we agreed to play. And one of the captains grabs the ball. At this point, he still has his work boots on. They were untied, dribbles it once, and jumps up and does a windmill dunk. And I'd say that was probably the moment I realized that that game was not going to end well for us as freshmen, but I really had no idea how badly it was going to end. So we're getting ready to play. They give us the ball first, and I pass it to Curtis to start the play. He catches it and turns to face the basket, and in the process, he swings his elbow, and he hits our best player, the kid that's supposed to be the front runner for the Player of the Year in the conference, in the face with his elbow. So it's possession 1. Nobody's even taken a shot yet, and we already have this incident. And so I was hoping it was going to be a minor thing. So as I started walking over, I realized there was quite a bit of blood. And at that point, I'm mortified. We've been playing hoop for less than 30 seconds. And these two freshmen, who've been here a week, have managed to injure our best player playing a sport that wasn't baseball. So a trip to the emergency room, and 10 stitches later, the bleeding did stop. And we were all worried about what our coach was going to say, including the two captains. After making us buy a pizza for dinner, these two guys actually invited us over to their dorm, along with a bunch of the other members of the team, so we could all get to know each other. And for me, that went a long way towards making me feel comfortable and making me feel like I was actually a part of the team and a part of something. Also, when the coach eventually found out what happened, those two guys never mentioned our names, which was good because we were still trying to fit in and trying to earn some playing time, and that wouldn't have been a good way to start. I still appreciate that to this day, and that was something that was small, that only took a few hours, that these guys did, that went a long way to making both me and Curtis feel like we were a part of something and we were included. So from that experience, I knew that if I ever got to a position of leadership, I would make it a point to unite our team early in the preseason to make these newcomers feel welcome. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. I think one year we had a bowling tournament. But those activities help bring people together so you can learn about each other. And I encourage you as leaders to do something together as a team like that, outside of practice, and it has to involve every single person on your team. Ultimately, in order to be successful, everybody has to be invested, and this is a good first step to do that. It's something that's worked for me. So the second part of great leadership, I think, is leaders must put their team's success over individual success. It's easy to lead when things are going great for you and your team, but the question is, how do you react when you face some adversity? One of the best leaders I've ever coached is a player at Burnt Hills named Josh Casada. Josh was a three-sport athlete here, and he excelled particularly on the football and baseball fields. He was mentally tough. He loved playing on the biggest stage. His ability to handle difficult situations created a business-like atmosphere for our team. And during his senior season, Josh basically carried our team for the first half of the season. He led our team in batting average, RBI, stolen bases, and he played an outstanding shortstop. I can't tell you how many games he single-handedly won for us. He was great at keeping our guys excited and motivated during practice and games, and that's easy to do when things are going really well. During the second half of the season, Josh went into a slump a little bit offensively. As good as things went for him at the beginning of the year, they were equally as tough during the second part of our season. The most impressive thing to me was that his demeanor never changed. He did all of the same things as a team leader that he had done when things were going great for him personally. He motivated, he worked hard in practice, he pulled his teammates together, and you never once saw him hang his head because his individual performance wasn't to the standard that he expected. After a win, you couldn't tell if he had gone 4 for 4 at the plate or 0 for 4. His leadership was the epitome of steady and consistent. If your leaders value team success over their own personal performance, then your team will hopefully buy into that as well. Former President Harry Truman said it best when he said, "It's amazing what can be accomplished when nobody cares who gets the credit." The third thing I'd like to share with you guys today, the third quality of a good leader, is a leader has to be respected. And respect is earned, it's not given. So the question is, how do you earn respect? And leaders earn respect by doing the things I just talked about. The word captain next to your name doesn't automatically mean that your teammates will listen to you and respect what you have to say. It takes time to build those relationships. Being a leader is a tough job. It's why great leaders are so valuable to teams and organizations around the world. Once you've established those relationships with your teammates, you can start to hold people accountable for their performance. If your peers respect you, they'll listen when you tell them that they need to practice harder. They'll listen to you when you tell them they can't show up late to class anymore. without that respect, sometimes those words can fall on deaf ears. The hardest part of leading is holding people accountable, especially when those are your friends. You have to be able to say the things that need to be said, even though it might not be the most popular thing to hear. And that can't happen until everyone on your team is pulling in the same direction. So I'll leave you guys with this. As a leader, your job is to unite a group of people towards a common goal. Are you thinking about ways to do that? Do all the members of your team feel like they're an important part of the process? If not, how are you going to change that? I just want to say thank you guys for tuning in. I hope I've given you some ideas that will help develop your leadership skills and ultimately lead to your team's success. Good luck with your seasons, and thanks again.
Rob, thanks so much. I think the student athletes out there listening can really take your advice and bring it back to their teams and their schools and their communities. So I appreciate everything you've said. And everyone listening right now, I know at the beginning of the episode, Rob asked you to think about why you play your sport. Why do you play sports? Really think about that. And I want you to share your story with the NFHS My Reason Why campaign. You can tweet the NFHS, and if you're tweeting using Instagram or Facebook, make sure you tell your reason why by using the hashtag MyReasonWhy. Also, make sure you tag us at NYSPHSAA. The NFHS is also collecting stories on their website to feature on their social media channels, and we really want some of our student athletes in New York to be featured. So make sure you check out the campaign video and share your reason why. Now that's it for today's episode of NYSPHSAA Captains Club. Thanks so much for joining us today. And also thanks to NYSCOPBA, and a very special thank you to Rob Duell. And don't forget to check us out on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at NYSPHSAA. You can also follow me directly at Kristen Jaden for updates on special programs. If you want to share this episode, it'll be posted to our YouTube channel tomorrow morning, so make sure you check that out. And hopefully you'll come back next month and join us for our Captains Club on Tuesday, January 10th at 3 p.m. to hear from Guy Waltman. Guy is a certified personal trainer, nutrition expert, and professional public speaker for the NFL's Fuel Up to Play 60 program, as well as a former Division I lacrosse player for the Syracuse Orange. So that's very exciting. But last but not least, don't forget, being a leader matters and you matter. Have a safe and happy holiday, everyone.